Are you planning to apply for your first BTO flat? Here a simple guide to help you make the right decision when choosing a flat. By the end, I'll share a special tip to improve your chances of getting a good BTO number. Let's start with how to choose a BTO project. HDB announces new BTO locations at least 3 months before the actual launch. This gives you enough time to do your research and decide which area suits you best. If you are trying to get the proximity housing grant, you'll need to choose a location within 4 kilometers of your parents or in-laws. If you don't need that, you'll have more flexibility to choose from a wider range of locations. It's easy to prefer mature estates because they're more popular. But over the last 20 years, Singapore has developed so well that even newer towns have lots to offer. When you look at the BTO project, ask yourself a few important questions. First, how close is the nearest MRT station? Be careful because online maps may say a 10-minute walk, but in reality, it could be more like 30 minutes. Next, check if the area is noisy or peaceful. How busy are the roads around it? If you prefer quiet, look for a project on a less busy street. If you cook a lot, see if there's a supermarket or wet market nearby. The same applies to hawker centers and food courts, as you'll want convenient places to eat. If you plan to have kids or already have young children, check the distance to nearby primary schools. If there's a school you really want your kids to attend, try to get a BTO unit within 1 kilometer of that school, as this improves your chances of getting in. Even if you're not planning to have children, being close to a good school could increase the value of your flat if you sell it in the future. Living close to amenities like a town center, mall, or sports center is another plus. These places not only make your life more comfortable, but could also increase the resale value of your flat later on. Another big decision is whether to go for a plus or prime BTO flat, which comes with a 10-year minimum occupation period, MOP, and some restrictions, or a standard flat with a 5-year MOP. Plus and prime flats are located in better areas, but you can't rent out the whole unit after the MOP. These flats also have a cap on the income of future buyers, which could make resale harder. Standard BTO flats, on the other hand, have a 5-year MOP, but they might not be as close to amenities. You and your partner should discuss your long-term plan. Is this flat for a long-term stay or just until you can sell it? If you want to sell it quickly after the MOP, you might prefer a flat with a 5-year MOP. But if you want to live in a prime area, you might have to accept the 10-year MOP. Another important question is, what type of flat do you need? Do you want a 4-room or 5-room flat? Keep in mind that 5-room units are becoming rarer in new BTO launches, so you may need to settle for a 4-room flat depending on what's available. Assuming you get a good queue number, the next step is picking your ideal unit. Picking the perfect flat can be hard because lots of people want the best ones. Everyone wants a high floor with a great view, close to MRT stations and shops. The good news is, you can see online what units other people are choosing. This helps you figure out what might still be available when it's your turn. A common piece of advice is to avoid low-floor units. This is mostly true, as units on level 5 and below are usually harder to sell later. But don't dismiss them entirely. If the building is on high ground and your unit faces greenery, a low-floor flat might still feel private and nice. If you're considering a corridor unit, keep in mind that corner units are generally more desirable. But newer HDB flats no longer have windows facing the corridor, which gives you more privacy. You should still check the layout, though, to see if people walking by might be able to look into your kitchen or service yard. Corridor units also come with less outdoor space. This is something to think about if you need room for things like a baby stroller, plants, or a bicycle. You won't have as much space to store these items outside your unit. Another thing to consider is the orientation of your flat. Some people are concerned about whether their unit gets afternoon sun, while others aren't too bothered by it. If you care about this, be sure to check the map to ensure the unit faces the right way. One thing I think is more important than sun exposure is avoiding units that face busy roads or expressways. The dust and noise from these roads can be overwhelming, especially if you're on a lower or middle floor. Also, units that face expressways generally don't do as well in the resale market. You should also avoid units near dumpsters. Low-floor units near dumpsters often have bad smells, pests like cockroaches, and other problems. This can hurt your resale value too. If your flat faces a multi-story car park, it can be convenient for drivers but noisy at night from car alarms and doors slamming. Bright lights from the car park can also shine into your windows, making it hard to sleep. If noise is a concern, avoid units near amenities like pavilions, playgrounds, or fitness corners. These places are often busy and can attract crowds, which might create a lot of noise. So what should you do if you get a bad queue number and don't like the remaining units? There's a rule that says if you're invited to book a flat but don't, you'll be considered a second timer for a year. This reduces your chances of getting a good flat in the next round. You and your partner need to decide if it's worth accepting a flat that's not ideal or waiting another year for a better chance. Lastly, let's talk about the optional component scheme, OCS. HDB offers this service where they install things like flooring, toilets, and doors in your flat before you move in. This can be cheaper than doing it yourself, but you won't have much choice in design. The quality is decent, though not fancy. Now here's the tip to increase your chances of getting a good BTO flat. The trick is to apply during the last few hours of the application period. By then, you can see which projects have fewer applications and go for those. HDB updates the application rates throughout the day, so this can help you decide. That's it. Good luck with your BTO application.